Gentlemen, at this point, I'd like to introduce our next member of Congress, someone who actually really doesn't need an introduction because he's been with us through the thick and thin. I remember the congressional hearings where he was talking to the State Department back in a day where Iran's primary opposition group, the Mujahideen Khalq, MEK, were wrongfully designated by the State Department, and how this member of Congress was holding the State Department officials accountable to explain the why. Explain the why. And the why was never there. And it was politically motivated, and that's why the MEK got delisted. And since then, this member of Congress has been a pillar of majority of the bipartisan House resolution on the issue of democracy, on the issue of human rights, on the issue of Iranian people's right to self-defense and resist the regime in Tehran. So with that, please welcome, put your hands together for Congressman Brad Sherman.
Thank you so much. I'm Brad Sherman from America's best named city, Sherman Oaks. And for 28 years, some people in this room have heard me say that, because for 28 years, we've been looking forward to the day when the mullahs are out and democracy is in. And that is why the National Council of Resistance of Iran and the Organization of Iranian American Communities has worked so hard to bring freedom to the people of Iran. And never has it been so close. For decades, we saw that the regime controlled a powerful army, that it had a Revolutionary Guard Corps, that it had an alliance like this with another government, namely that of Syria. And just in the last week, we have seen Assad tour his new dacha outside of Moscow. They are building several more dachas there, so that the supreme leader will have a place to live when he flees Iran. We have seen Hezbollah gutted. We have seen Assad surrender. But we've seen Russia, their powerful ally, too preoccupied with Ukraine. But what hasn't been commented on is that the Iranian government was not able to send any help to Damascus. Not one brigade of the Iran Revolutionary Guard Corps was sent. Now, they'll say they couldn't get there by air because of Israel. They couldn't get there across Iraq because of, well, because they didn't have the troops to spare. Because what few loyalists they have are busy in the streets of Shiraz and the streets of Tehran looking for a woman who shows as much hair as I have to do God knows what to her. So we come together after what for me has been only 28 years of struggle, what for you has been even longer, in the hopes that the Iranian people will exercise their right to demand democracy and freedom and a government that is as good as the people of Iran. So there is much for us to do. One of those, of course, is to pass the resolution that was just mentioned that I was proud to co-sponsor in this Congress and that received the support of both parties. I know we had a majority of the Congress. I think we had a majority of both political parties as co-sponsors. And That is why I also joined with you in co-sponsoring House Resolution 1148, condemning the Iranian regime's terrorism, regional proxy war, internal suppression. And we've seen all the layers of that regime implode. I want to thank the MEK's chairwoman, Maryam Rajavi, for her work and for her support of women's rights in Iran. And I want to thank the people of Syria for demonstrating that when you have a regime that has a state army, that has a secret police that has killed over 100,000 people, when you have a regime that's driven millions of people into exile, that regime can fall in 11 days. And I want to thank the National Council of Resistance in Iran that back in 2002 broke the story for the world to see that Iran had an underground nuclear facility in Natanz. America and the world owe a debt of gratitude to you. We have seen levels of suppression in Iran that even exceed the terrible and macabre story that is revealed now by reporters in Syria. We saw so many massacred in 1988 and since then. And I know that the friends and family and loved ones of those who died in 1988 might have despaired and wondered whether those sacrifices were in vain. But those friends and family may yet live to see democracy in Iran. So we have to do everything we can in the United States to show that we stand with the Iranian people, to show that we stand with Iranian resistance groups, perhaps some funding that isn't publicized, but certainly publicized support, that all over the world, America stands with democracy. And the current leaders of Iran will soon be standing in Red Square in Moscow. I'm Brad Sherman. I look forward to working with you. We've never been this close. Thank you very much.